Wow. Look, Mom, I'm famous! Yes! Great. Okay, that will be on LinkedIn, definitely. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Oh, come on, you can do better. I know it's before lunch. How are you doing? Yeah. Now everybody in the second room are intimidated. What are happening? Okay. So, yeah, the title of my presentation is Bring Back Magic to Your Testing, Life Lessons from a Professional Magician and Professional Magician I Am. Who wants to see a magic trick? Raise your hand. Bad news, there won't be any. We don't have a time for that. The clock is ticking already. But if you want to see a magic trick, feel free to grab me on the lunch, on whatever breaks. Sadly, I won't be able to attend today's evening event. Sorry for that. There are some situations that I need to take care in my place back in Poland. But a couple of things first. First of all, there are like 4 key points of this presentation. So first of all, I would like to focus on important soft skills for any person in the QA field in magic as well. That's sort of a background which I have. How to avoid burnout in routine, how to stay motivated and still bring value to your work, and why it sometimes pays to be a little kid again. And I already admitted that yes, I'm a magician, but since the only disappointment which you can have while being a magician is a disappointment of your parents because you don't have a typical job, 12 years ago, I decided to jump into the QA. I started as a manual QA, worked my way up all the ladder. So everything in terms of quality field, you name it, I did it. Manual testing, automation, I did things like writing the scripts, I created environments, and for the last 8 years, I helped teams to build a quality-oriented culture. Somebody referred to me as a mechanic. Yes, mechanic I am. I can fix the card game, because I know the moves. I can fix teams, I can fix relationship between people, and I can fix processes, and that's what I do for the last couple of years. Beside of that, I have 1 wife, 3 kids, 2 cats, 2 loans. So yeah, typical guy in the 30s. Yeah, and I work in a company called Swing Development. It's the one over here. Yeah, we are the part of a HIPAA company, and we basically making an insurance, the home insurance, which we sell over the US market. Okay, let's jump to the presentation. But before we start, let's do a little bit of a warm-up. So there won't be a magic trick, but there will be a warm-up. Please put your hands in front of you, palm upwards, and bend the elbows 90 degrees up, and do a Spock gesture. So it is like long live and prosper. Hold like this for 30 seconds. We will have a wonderful photo. We got it? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. And now join your fingers together. And then extend the fingers which are on the outside, so the pinky and the pointer. Great. And now do the change. Change back to Spock. Change back to extend. Spock, extend. Do it quick. Yes! Brilliant! Awesome. Feeling better? Yeah, a little bit energized. Okay. So how about the important soft skills for any person in the QA field and magic as well? I've listed 3. I know there's way more. There's critical thinking, like all the stuff like this. Yes, but I decided to go with 3 of them. So there's the communication skills, openness, and enthusiasm. So when I was performing magic in a restaurant, I've noticed that people, when they are meeting at the table, they are functioning in something which is described as a social bubble. And I don't know if you find this intimidating even here. When people are talking about something on the near the table, when they are around the table, it's kind of hard to approach to them and like get involved into the conversation, right? It's kind of intimidating. So we need 3 things to be able to function in a society, all societies, and to be able to function or enter the social bubbles. So we need a communication skills. You need to be able to talk. You need to be able to think and express your thoughts. You need to be able to approach the table, introduce yourself, say what you're here for, and then continue, right? Could you imagine a magician approaching your table and doing this? Yeah, awkward, right? Yeah. Openness. Sometimes people will say things which you cannot accept, or you might treat this as an insult. I often get rejected when I approach the table and say, hey, I'm doing magic, you want to see some tricks? And I always go, no. Why? Right? It's like I'm doing the most wonderful things in the world. No, I don't want to. Yeah, you need to be open to accept the other person different point of view, right? Because they might have one. They might have reasons. We need to be open for that. Enthusiasm, that's my favorite one. I don't know if you would like to see a magician who doesn't have an enthusiasm. Who would like to see one? Yeah, there's always somebody who's raising their hand, yeah. There's always one guy, yeah. Who would like to have a teacher which doesn't have an enthusiasm? I mean, we all have one, right, in the past, but who would like to have one? Yeah, so as I thought. So why do you think that people would like to work with somebody who doesn't have an enthusiasm? Yeah, I don't know. And I found a brilliant metaphor that if you mix ingredients together, like flour, like eggs, like sugar, butter, you mix them together, all together they're making kind of an unattractive mix, right? But the heat is something which can turn those unattractive mix into beautiful and delicious sponge, right? So even if you think that you're doing unattractive things, your passion can change this. Your approach to this can change this. You can come up to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I've just executed 20 test cases and I only find one bug. You have amazing software. That's the most. Let's go grab some coffee. Let's talk about this, right? And you can approach and say, like, yeah. In your inbox, there's a report from the bug. Yeah, you know what to do, right? And all those three things together combined, if I would have to give you like one advice in the soft skills area, I would just go for it. This is the Neil deGrasse Tyson quote. One of the great challenges of this world is knowing enough about the subject to think you're right, but not know enough about the subject to know you're wrong. Otherwise, be open and accept other people. That will save you a lot of frustration. Be open to somebody saying, hey, I don't want to see a magic trick. Be open to somebody saying, it works for me, right? It will save you a lot of frustration. Because what we tend to forget in a daily hustle and bustle is that IT is actually a people's business. I'm not going to quote the Agile Manifesto, don't worry about that. But it is a people's business. Behind the processes, products, tests, everything what you have, there's always a people. And if you learn how to work with people, you're 90% success in this business, the same as in magic. The best advice which I got in magic was stop treating your audience as the next prop in your show. They are part of it. They are the most important part of it. But we're coming back to this. Wow, half of the time already gone. Okay, let's speed up. How to avoid burnout and routine. So I want to show you a video of mine. This is over 2 hours of practice, which I did into time lapse of 2 minutes. And you will notice a couple of things on the video. You will notice that there's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of things which are repeated over and over again. And by the way, this is like over 2 hours, almost 3 hours of practice. And this is one of the shortest practice sessions which I have. So usually I practice like for 4 or 5 hours per day, every single day, for 9 years. I'm doing magic for 12 years already. 9 years of practice like that. And I did not skip even a single day. So what does it make to you? It creates a routine. But what does routine to you? Routine kills you slowly. That's what they say. Why is that? Because you're doing the same things over and over again. And even if you like those things, well, it doesn't bring you the joy after some time. So you will notice that at some point I'm starting to play with the poker chips in this training routine. I'm starting to read some books just to break the routine. Right? So yeah, there's a couple minutes left on this video. Yeah, so that's basically how my practice sessions look like. Yeah, this is a poker chips, playing, yeah. So reading books as a part of the practice. Yeah, different hand drawings, that's important for magicians, and things like that. So how to avoid burnout and routine? Well, first of all, start by introducing a small change in your daily routine. Well, pretty obvious, right? How to break the routine? Well, change the routine. But what is my advice on it? So we're very often coming to the conferences, we're very often going to trainings, and we learn stuff, right? Raise your hand, who who one of you have learned have went to the training and did not apply a single thing from this training to his job? Raise your hand. I'm guilty as charged. Yeah, there's quite a bunch, right? Yeah, we all have our sins. Yeah, so this is the perfect thing to try and break the routine. Apply things that you learned recently. Try a different approach to the testing. Grab a developer and say like, hey, I want to do some exploratory testing with you. Break the routine. Do the most important thing first in the morning. You need to define what's the most important thing. For me, it was practicing my card moves in Magic. So I did this as the first thing, 3 hours of practice of the card slides. Then I could go with the fun stuff, the balls, chips, things like that, right? The same for the QA field. I started to do the most boring things in the morning, regression testing. Oh, crap, hate it. Yeah, but I started to do this as a first thing in the morning, and then I could jump on to the new thing, to the new fresh stuff. And to do regular breaks. A gentleman named Anders Ericsson in 1993 conducted a series of research on a group of violin players. And he divided them into 3 groups, the good ones, the average ones, and the bad ones. And they gave him the same task. And after a month or 2, it shows that the best one have amazing results, and according to the skills, the worst group has the worst results. But what was interesting, the most advanced group, the best ones, they got the biggest results, the most amazing results, but they did the biggest amount of sleep during the day. 8.6 hours of sleep during the day, while the worst group had only 7.2 hours of sleep during the day. And 0 breaks, 0 naps during the day, while the best groups had at least 4 15 minutes break in their daily routine, including 30 minutes nap. Who would like to have 30 minutes nap and get paid for it, right? Yeah, now you're raising hands. Okay, great. So remember to work hard, but also remember to recover hard, to rest hard. Okay, how to stay motivated and still bring value to your work. I really like this picture. This is one of the final shows which I did with this particular trick. I spent 4 years practicing this trick and making this perfect. I started from very poor reactions, and then I started to readjust the slides, readjust the things which I'm saying. And why this photo is important for me? Because it shows the progress which I did, and I'm proud of it. I can show you this photo and say, yeah, this is my job, this is my achievement. The fact that this guy's mind is blown is 4 years of my hard work. So the question is, when did you appraise yourself? When did you send a kudos to yourself? What was the last time when you did it? A week ago? 2 weeks ago? A month ago? Never? So it is super important to see the value in your work, to appreciate yourself. I even started to ask this question on the interview whenever somebody applies to a QA position in my team. I ask them, hey, what's the most important bug which you found and you are proud of? 99% of people doesn't have an answer. What's the process which you introduced? You asked for some improvement. You introduced this. This is like your baby in the company. What's this? They don't know. But if I ask about the failures, oh yeah, we can talk now, right? But this is the primal instinct which we have from the times like prehistoric times, when people lived in caves, and whenever you fail, you die. Since you are all here, and I guess that all of us did some mistakes, I can quite safely assume that nobody is going to hurt you because you made some mistakes, right? So let's focus on what brings value and build your own list of kudos to yourself. And I even started to onboard this into personal development plans which I have for my team. I started to incorporate a kudos at the very end of the personal development plan for them, like the list of their achievements, so they can see their own involvement into development of the company and the product. And point number 4, why it sometimes pays to be a little kid again. Well, there are multiple reasons for that. First of all, kids are always brave enough to ask the question, why? And I was such a kind of a kid that I was always asking Mommy, why I have to do this? Daddy, why it works like that? And my parents usually told me like, oh, when you're more mature, you'll understand, or it's a common sense. And I knew that they do not have a very good answer for that, right? So whenever you will have a feature which you are not sure about how you should approach to this, whether it's not a big of a risk, feel free to ask why. Hey, product owner, why we are doing this? What's the reason behind this? And if they will say it's a common sense or that's the market need, then you know that they don't have a very good reason behind this, right? But there's also one thing which I want to do about the question why, and I'm risking banning me from the next edition of HasDev, but it's important for me to ask this question. We should all be willing to and brave enough to ask this question, but mainly towards ourselves. So the question is, why I want to do magic? At first, I wanted to do this because of a fame, because of a money, because of a being popular, and I ended up meeting the top world's performers. I spent a whole day with them, discussing magic, tricks, approach, things like that. I came back to my room in a hotel, and I felt nothing. I was looking at the mirror, I was looking into my eyes, I was like, what happened? What happened? And I started to rethink my approach to magic, why I want to do this. So it's very same for the testing. Why you want to do this? For money? Well, if this is the only reason, quit. And I'm that serious. Because at some point of your life, you will wake up in the morning and all the bitterness inside. And you will look on yourself in the mirror and you will say, well, at least I have money. That was the thing which I wanted to have, right? We should all think about the feelings which we have while we're parking our car in a parking space next to our office. What's the feelings which we have inside? What's our motivation to be there? What do you feel when you open the inbox and you see another emails? Hey, this is urgent. Speed up, right? Why you want to do this? I asked this question to myself 5 years ago. Why I want to do this? And I was afraid of the answer. But the answer gave me my motivation to work through all the crises which I have. And again, I could not leave the company, I could not leave the testing because I am the only one who brings the money to the home, right? My wife is taking care about the kids. So discover the reasons why you want to do this and bring back joy and magic to everything which you do. I still have 10 seconds, so I would just like, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank you, all of you, for attending my session. Feel free to ask questions, grab me on the breaks and things like that. I'm really grateful for having this opportunity to share my passion with you. And it was a pleasure for me to have all of you as my guests on my lecture. Thank you very much.
Give a huge applause to Greg. But we are not letting you go. Actually, I have to be honest, we had to delete the first 3 questions because they were requests instead of questions. Everyone want to see a magic trick. But I liked the first question. It's not a professional question, but it had the most likes.
Actually, I can answer the first question. Actually, yes, and yes, I did it. So we had a benchmark that we cannot release a software with the critical bugs opened. With more than 2 critical bugs opened. So we had an important release date, and we had 10 critical bugs opened. So what we did, we decided to remove our part of the software from the main package. We created one bug, which was called like, hey, the package was not included into main package. And then we attached all the issues to this, and those we had only one bug. Creative cunning, yeah.
Okay, but we have some professional questions.
Okay. Hey, that was professional. Come on.
Okay.
How do you create enthusiasm in an environment that doesn't have any? Well, story of my life. How do you create an enthusiasm? So in one of the companies where I started to work in the last 6 years of my career, I've entered the company, I've entered to meet my team, I've met them, I said, what are we going to do? And then I have a one-person approach to me, and she said, like, 2 more weeks, and you will lose the smile from your face. I was like, oh, how can you even say things like that? So if I have the easier way because I'm a manager, so I can lead by example, right? But if you are willing to see a change in your company, start from yourself. This is the best advice which I can give you. Start from yourself. So you should bring the enthusiasm, and you should be the guy who's always taking, or the girl, who's always taking the initiative, who's always showing the positive results, who's always willing to jump into initiatives. I had a bunch of people in my teams that when I was proposing something, they were only complaining. And at some point, I draw a line on the floor, literally. I did this on one of the teams meeting. I draw a line on the floor, and I said, if you're with me, come here. If not, stay behind the line and stop interrupting us. Stop complaining. We want to do amazing things. You're with us or not? And it worked. Yeah, but you cannot just like answer. This is a very complex question. So if you want to have like more insights, grab me on the lunch or whatever of the breaks.
How can you be motivated in a team when you have imposter syndrome?
So, spoiler alert, I have an imposter syndrome. And it's actually diagnosed by my, my psychologist. Can you be motivated in a team when you have imposter syndrome? Yes, you can. And how to do this? Create your own list of kudos. Because if you have an imposter syndrome, you will not allow facts to go in your mindset. You will have a cognitive bias issues which will negate all the facts. You will base your judgment on feelings, not on the facts. So the way to overcome this is to base your judgment on the facts. In the like IT manner, it should be like a data-driven, right? So it has to be data-driven. So write your own list of kudos. And usually while having imposter syndrome, you will be able to repeat things which people are telling about you, the good things, but you won't be able to digest it and accept it as your own. So if you have this list, create this list, and just read it in front of a mirror every single day and say, this is me. This is me. This is who I am. And this is the first step to be motivated in a team when you have imposter syndrome.
That's cool.
Oh, there's so many brilliant questions.
But you can choose if you would like, because maybe we have, one more question. You can choose one.
I will go with the second one from the bottom because there is a quick answer. No, there's not enough. There's nothing like too much of why, so there's always a place to ask why. And the second one, do you think is too much of asking why? Yeah, so it's the same. Do you advise to take more naps in your work so we become more efficient? Not necessarily naps, breaks, yes. Stand from your chair, get away from your desk, stop thinking about the work. I love what I do, both magic and both IT, business, but the case when you love what you do is that you cannot notice that you're still working. You're leaving your room, you're leaving your office, and you're still working in your head. Cut this thinking. Stop thinking about the work. I did an agreement with my team. 5 p.m. in the evening, I'm putting all the notifications off. If you write something to me, I will reply tomorrow morning. And it worked both ways. If I will write something to you after 5 p.m., I don't expect an answer in the same day. So start doing the breaks and cut off all the work which you have, all the thinking about the work after your working hours.
I have a personal question, if you don't mind. I was just wondering, how many hours does your day consist of?
So I have 3 little kids. Yeah, that's actually.
And you're practicing every day for 3 hours?
Yeah. So I did for the first couple of years, like 7 or 8 years of my magician career. Yes, I did practice so much, but to be honest, I got this question from my my manager in my current workplace on an interview. Do you get enough sleep? I was like, yeah, I don't need enough. I was like, I don't need more than 5 hours. No. Do you get enough sleep? So recently I got like more than a month constantly having more than 8 hours of sleep every single day. So yeah, and I totally recommend this. At least start to go to bed the day before you have to wake up, right? So like, yeah, this will be a good advice.